Good morning, y'all, and welcome to 10 Minutes with Dr. Bree. Today is what's today? Today is March 24th at 7:08 a.m. And apparently I'm recording this a little late because y'all, I was getting some good sleep. Like, have you ever woken up with the crust on your mouth because you got that much good sleep? Like, it's only happened to me a few times in my life. One was when I was a kid and I got a whooping and I got that good sleep after the whooping. And then if you're just, you're just tired, and that is the type of sleep I got last night because apparently your girl has been tired in addition to like the sinus stuff that I've been walking through. But that's not even why you're here. Before we get started, y'all, let me remind you of a few things. You can grab your free ebook, Strategic Shifts, at BriannaWhiteside.com. It is crucial that you have strategy for your life. Secondly, go ahead and book your one-on-one strategy session with me if you need strategy around any area of your life. And then I also want you to grab your copy of Words and Authority. The Kingdom series is on its way back. And in order to get the most out of those teachings this time, you want to have Words and Authority, how the breath of God sanctions kingdom authority. So you can do that also at BriannaWhiteside.com. I will be shipping out those copies personally by the end of the week. And so I want you to be equipped because we really only have 7 days left in March. And if you're anything like me, you're like, wow, we are marching forward towards April. And let's just see what April holds for us. In today's segment, I want to talk briefly about asking the hard questions. Asking the hard questions. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of people avoid asking the hard questions. They avoid asking themselves the hard questions. They avoid asking others the hard questions. And they also avoid asking hard questions of the faith. If you're a believer, you know that sometimes asking those hard questions about why you believe what you believe, or do you really believe what you believe, or do you really stand on what you say you believe, those things can get very murky and very scary. Therefore, people kind of resist asking those hard questions because 9 times out of 10, when you ask a hard question, it will lead to some type of breakdown and some type of clarity. Those are the only two options you got. You get a breakdown or you get clarity. And the way I see this more clearly is in relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic. When you ask someone hard questions about where you all stand or something you can maybe improve upon or things like that, you are going to have to brace yourself sometimes for the response. I remember years ago, I went and asked my friends, hey, what's something I can work on in our friendship? And I asked like 4 of them, and I was not prepared for their answers. I had to sit and listen to how they experienced me. I had to sit and listen to understand. And it was hard hearing how they experienced me because, I didn't experience me that way. But I had to ask them the right questions because I wanted to get better. And it was a hard question and it was hard to sit under, but I did want to know. The same is true for my faith. I've been asking a lot of hard questions over the last few years. And I've been really honest about that because I think that sometimes we give lip service to our faith and we say we believe certain things. And then when certain things happen, we resist asking those hard questions of ourselves, of God, and things like that. And, of course, the old school folks will be like, don't question God. But I don't ascribe to that thought process. Like, I do question. And as a matter of fact, more recently, I've been questioning, like, are you the one or should we look for another? Right? You've heard that line before. I think it was John the Baptist who sent his disciples to ask Jesus when he had become imprisoned, are you the one or should we look for another? Like, there is a point in your life where you can hit a low point where you have to ask God, am I following the right person here? And I never thought that I would come to that point in my walk where I ask, am I following the right person? Because though I have had valley moments, I have never, ever experienced the depths of a low point like I've been walking through the last few months of my life. And, it just seems like, can I get to the mountain, please? Like, let me get to the mountaintop, please. Because I don't know how much faith I got left for this journey, And I've been having to ask hard questions. I've been having to think through what I said I believe and actually come to terms with the fact that some of this stuff I did not truly believe. I was told to believe it, But when it came to it, I realized you really don't believe that. And this is not for me to beat myself up. This is not for condemnation. This was just a question of realization. Like, you really don't believe that, Brianna. And some things in the faith, we don't all believe. We don't all believe the same thing in faith. We don't. Some people live their lives according to certain standards. Some people live their lives according to, certain ways that they've been taught. We don't all believe the same thing, which is why there's so much denominationalism. And, growing up with a charismatic background and listening to pastors say one thing to the congregation, but then get close enough, even in dating experiences, to the behind the scenes and realizing y'all really don't believe what y'all have been saying either. Y'all don't believe this. And rather than be honest, you all, I don't even know what to call it, because I don't think it's telling lies, but you all pretend. You pretend. And, that has also, knowing that, it kind of, throws you into some type of, not downward spiral, but some type of mode, or I don't even know what to call it. It throws you into something where you begin to question, like, if you don't believe this, and not saying that we should not talk about the things that are true, because the Bible doesn't need us to believe it to be true. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that there's a point where you come to terms with the fact that everyone is struggling with belief in some area. And majority of the time it is belief with the faith, belief with the Bible, belief in God. And, there are seasons where you will go through certain things that will test your faith, but also test you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, right? And in those moments, sometimes some people practice avoidance and others lean into it. I've been I've been both people in my life. I've been the one to avoid, and I have been lately the one to lean into the questions. Like, I really don't know this. I really don't know if I believe this. Or maybe I once believed that I believed it, and now I realize that I really don't believe what I thought I believed. You know what I'm saying? And I had to ask these questions, like, why did you think you believed it? And at what point did you stop believing? And all of these questions that I had to ask of myself, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Ask yourself the hard questions, because that is where growth happens. When you're in relationships with people and you have to ask hard questions, that's either where growth happens or where you have to decide to part ways. And you have to be okay with that, because clarity is important. If you do not know the truth, how can you move forward? How can you walk together, right? How can you walk together even in your relationship with God if you don't know the truth, if you all are not agreeing? And I've talked about the power of agreement before, but I wanted to talk the first part to get to the power of agreement is asking the hard questions. And it may deconstruct some stuff in your life, and you got to be okay with holding that tension. It's hard. It's hard tension to hold. It's heavy. But it will lead you to a place that you probably never thought you'd be. And sometimes that's not always a bad thing, though it can feel like a bad thing. That's all I got. I'm about to hop off here because it is Monday. It is the top of the week and I have several things to do. Again, you all, please like this video if you are listening on YouTube, and leave us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and grab your free Strategic Shifts ebook at BriannaWhiteside.com. Book your one-on-one strategy session over there and grab your copy of Words and Authority, How the Breath of God Sanctions Kingdom Authority, because the Kingdom series is coming back. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.